Hey, what's up? It is Dan or DMad96 there, and welcome to round number 10 of our F1 2016 career mode with Haas F1. And our agent is on the screen for the first thing we're going to be doing today, and that is getting our information on our new rival for this weekend. Last time we beat Valtteri Bottas at the Austrian Grand Prix, and now we've been given rival number 4, and that is Kimi Räikkönen of Ferrari. Probably our toughest challenge yet, but we're not going to worry about that. It is the British Grand Prix this weekend, my home Grand Prix. So we've got the home fans out in the crowd today. Hopefully we can put on an impressive show for them and get back into the top 5 like we did last time in Austria, where we finished 4th. But to be fair, that was just an all-out crazy, insane race that saw Force India collect a double podium finish and Sergio Perez take first. But yeah, we are on the track right now for the track acclimatisation test of the first practice session here at Silverstone, and I'm feeling pretty confident going into this weekend. It's a track that I like, it's a pretty easy track as well. My pace has been good around here pretty much all weekend. As you can see, we get the purple objective in our very first lap, and now we're going to be moving on to the qualifying pace objective, just coming across the line to start lap 1. And we're going to be moving on to the end of the lap, and as you can see, we did manage to get the green target time, the neutral target of 11th place. We tried to push purple, but we made a mistake, as you can see right now, going into Copse Corner, and decided to abort the lap and collect the 30 resource points. There you can see the amount of resource points we did get on the screen. We did get an upgrade this weekend, but I haven't shown it in this video. We did get the upgrade for the chassis weight, so you'll see that at the start of the next round in Hungary. But now, let's move on to the qualifying report. Lewis Hamilton looked determined in front of his home fans, setting the early pace in Q1, a second clear of teammate Nico Rosberg. Carlos Sainz ended his qualifying early thanks to a crash, whilst Jolyon Palmer was disappointed to line up last. In Q2, it was the other Mercedes and Nico Rosberg fastest, with Lewis Hamilton just under a tenth behind. Dan Phillips made Q3 yet again, as fellow Brit Jenson Button wasn't so lucky and will start down in 15th. But the home crowd got what they wanted in the end, as Lewis Hamilton secures pole at Silverstone. Felipe Massa takes a surprising third for Williams, as Dan Phillips starts in 9th. It's a happy day for the British fans at Silverstone, with Lewis Hamilton on pole position, whilst just alongside will be Nico Rosberg doing everything he can to try and stop his teammates. Felipe Massa starts in an excellent third for Williams, ahead of both Ferraris and the Red Bulls, with teammate Valtteri Bottas 8th. Second highest Brit, Dan Phillips, starts 9th ahead of Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso, whilst you have to go down to 15th place to find the next British driver in Jenson Button. Rio Haryanto outqualifies teammate Pascal Wehrlein, whilst the other Brit of Jolyon Palmer will be starting last for this weekend's British Grand Prix. So overall, it was a pretty average qualifying session. We managed 9th on the grid, sitting behind Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. Our aim for this weekend in terms of finishing position will be to try and get a top 6 finish. Of course, after the Austrian Grand Prix, we managed to make a huge amount of gains in the championship, mainly due to Mercedes drivers, both of them failing to score, as well as both Ferrari. So we're sitting 5th, only 2 points behind Max Verstappen. So really, I think he's the one to beat this weekend. But you can see the Drivers' Championship standings, with both Mercedes drivers failing to score. The gap stays at 3 points between Hamilton and Rosberg. But Daniel Ricciardo did take 5th place in Austria, so is slowly catching up to the 2 Mercedes drivers. He could realistically take the championship lead. Well, obviously not this weekend, but he could be an outsider for this championship. He probably won't be, because the Mercedes drivers are just too quick. But we can never count on things, really. Daniel Ricciardo, he is a very quick driver after all. As you can see now, we're going out for the formation lap, sitting in 9th on the grid behind Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. We're going to try and see if we can get past him going down towards turn 1, and then we've got to fend off a charging Force India of Sergio Perez, who won the last race. But now the lights are about to limit here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go, and Nico Rosberg gets off to a better start, and the Ferrari, Kimi Räikkönen, getting off to a very slow start. So is Sebastian Vettel. Both Ferraris really slow off the line. We have now moved up into 7th place, still behind the Williams of Valtteri Bottas. We've got Perez behind us going down towards Village Corner, I think it is. Now into the second left-hander, still behind Valtteri Bottas in the Williams, trying to find a way past. I don't know which Mercedes is in the lead, but Nico Rosberg got off to a very good start, as it might even be him who has taken the lead here for British Grand Prix. We're currently in 7th position, going down towards Luffield very soon, trying to have a little look around the outside, now going into Luffield, and we just can't find a way past Valtteri Bottas at the minute. He's stuck behind Max Verstappen. Massa falling back from Mercedes drivers already. You can just see them in the distance pulling away, and now you can see Valtteri Bottas looking like he's trying to line up even Max Verstappen, but we are ever so close to the Williams. I'm almost hitting the back of the fin in the Williams, and surely we should be able to get in the next couple of corners. Now moving into club, and we make a complete dive on the inside of Valtteri Bottas. He tries to fight back, but we move into 6th position as we start lap 2 here of the British Grand Prix. Next up is Max Verstappen, the guy who was directly ahead of us in the championship. He's sitting in 5th position behind Daniel Ricciardo, and Felipe Massa, like I mentioned, seems to be dropping off. He is losing a lot of time. You can see now moving on to lap 2, Daniel Ricciardo has even managed to get ahead of him now. He's making life very difficult for Max Verstappen, seems to be holding him up a little bit, and that's allowing us just to catch up to the back of the Dutchman in the Red Bull and making a dive down the inside of Stowe corner. Now moving into 5th position, and Massa is on the slower medium compound tyres. That may be why he was holding up the Red Bull behind, but now we just get ahead of him, moving into 4th position. But you can see there the tyre wear going off very, very quickly, and the team actually said to come into the pits at the end of lap 4, which is what we're going to be doing now. Daniel Ricciardo is still running away with 3rd position. Someone else has gone into the pits. I think that is one of the Mercedes drivers. I can't really quite work out who it is, but by looking at the screen, I'm going to assume that it is Lewis Hamilton coming into the pits. Now, as you, well, obviously it's a very long pit entrance. Mercedes mechanics have been out, so I can only assume that is for Lewis Hamilton. Also making an early pit stop, one of the Ferraris are coming in. I think that is Sebastian Vettel. There you can see the Mercedes going towards pit exit. Now we're going to be going to pits, pitting for the medium compound tyres. I think we're going to try a 2, maybe a 3 stop this weekend here at Silverstone. We're just exiting the pit lane now. We're going to be way down the order. There is the Ferrari behind us, and we'll find out who that is in a minute. It is Sebastian Vettel. We rejoin in 19th position, Lewis Hamilton in 18th. He must be trying something as well, pitting very early. The yellow flag's just ahead. Something's happened, and I think that is for Max Verstappen, and you can see we have caught right up to the Red Bull driver. We're going to have a look on the replay now, and there you can see Verstappen battling with Valtteri Bottas, and they both made contact. A front wing, a bit of front wings fell off somewhere, and Verstappen's ended up in the gravel, so we managed to catch up to Verstappen. That's really not made any difference whatsoever. You can see now moving on to lap 6, Valtteri Bottas, the car who made contact with Verstappen, is now behind us. I believe he has just come into the pits. He is on the faster soft compound tyres, so obviously he will have a better straight line speed. He's going to try for a move round our outside as we go in towards Stowe corner. We have the inside line, keeping their position from the Williams driver. We're not going to back out from this fight. And now moving on to the 7th lap, Bottas has a much better exit going down the Wellington straight. And with the DRS assisted and the softer compound tyres, he makes it very easy for himself as he moves into 9th position. We go a little bit wide as we go towards left field now, but still keeping that 10th position ahead of Sebastian Vettel. But let's not forget that he is in a Ferrari. He does have the much better car compared to us. Valtteri Bottas slowly pulling a gap now on those faster, softer tyres. We're still a long way in this race. We're not even at halfway distance. We're now moving on to lap 11, moving quite a way into the race. Now we move on to our second pit stop, fitting another set of the medium tyres on, dropping it again down the field. We're going to be falling behind Felipe Nasr, it seems. We go towards pit exit. There's Max Verstappen actually, who is, I think, just going to be ahead of us, and it looks like he isn't actually that far up the road. Nico Hülkenberg has also rejoined ahead of us. We're now in 17th position, again still ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, but this time we are actually 6 seconds ahead of him, so we're quite a way ahead of the German. But now we're going to be catching up to the other German of Nico Hülkenberg in the Force India. We're going into the Magnus Beckett section now, but now going down to the hangar straight. You can see there's a car off with massive engine failure there, and the safety car has been deployed. Somehow we have managed to get ahead of Nico Hülkenberg without getting a penalty. Very surprised about that, but moving into 15th position just as someone's engine blows up. I think that was Felipe Nasr's Sauber who blew up earlier, so he's now the first retirement of this Grand Prix. Now we're on to lap 12 now. We're going to be passing the safety car, catching up to Max Verstappen. This is going to help us quite a bit here, because Max Verstappen, he was quite a way ahead of us, and now thanks to the safety car we have caught right up to the back of him. The safety car is coming into the pits at the end of lap 15, nearly getting ahead of Max Verstappen, just timing it a little bit wrong. As you can see there, a huge train obviously being formed thanks to Lewis Hamilton, I believe, in first, backing up the safety car. Now we are underway here for we're just about to start lap 16 here of the British Grand Prix, diving up the inside of Max Verstappen. As we are past safety car line, we can make an overtake. Now we move into 11th position, and now we've got to charge our way all the way up the field to try and get a good position if we can. Of course, like I mentioned, Max Verstappen is just ahead of us in the championship, so this could be crucial if we can get back into the points. We are currently sitting 9th. We're going to be getting 1 more point more than Max Verstappen, but now we're going to be getting another 2 more points. We go diving up the inside of Jody and Palmer's Renault, moving up into 8th. Now Verstappen following through just behind, and we got a couple of more cars up the road, including a Sauber, and I think I saw Wehrlein as well in the manor, so this shouldn't be very hard whatsoever, as obviously they've got much slower cars. Marcus Ericsson though driving quite slowly, and we're finding it very difficult to pass them going into the inside of Mag. It's a very risky opportunity, and contact has been made. I think I know that was kind of my fault, and yeah, you might see a lot of it in this series, but a bit of a clumsy mistake for myself. But let's have a look at the inside the onboard camera here. You can see Marcus Ericsson was going a little bit too slow, to be fair to him. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a risky move, and we have made contact. Now moving on to more Marcus Ericsson here, and I think he made contact with, I can't even believe that was one of the Williams drivers, and he has just lost his right front wheel, so he is now out of the race. Now moving on to lap 17, only 9 more laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Rio Haryanto running in 4th, he hasn't made his pit stop yet, and well, it was a very easy move up the inside into Village to take 4th position. Valtteri Bottas is our next target, he's now in 3rd. And this could be a very interesting battle, because Hamilton and Ricciardo have just come into the pits. We're now into P2. Valtteri Bottas leads. So, realistically, we could be an outside contender here for a podium finish. Pitting in on lap 20. We're going to be fitting the soft compound tyres for the final 6 laps of this Grand Prix to try and push towards Bottas and collect a 3rd place finish if we can. We're going to be rejoining the race behind Kvyat and behind these 2 cars, and that will be Rosberg and Max Verstappen exiting the pit lane now. We're now in 7th position. Rio Haryanto just staying behind us. He's having a very, very good race down in 8th position. On to Luffield now. Verstappen is just ahead of us. And then we've got Nico Rosberg. He is on, I think they're both on the slower tyres, so we should have the advantage right now. Maybe by the end of the race, I think these 2 should definitely have advantage. We force our way into 6th position ahead of Max Verstappen, and now you can see the difference between the hard and the soft tyres, and we just know now we have to make these overtakes count and try and get past these guys as quick as possible. Danny Kvyat's just ahead. I believe he does have to come into the pit soon, but they're going for a very ambitious dive in on Nico Rosberg. Next up is Danny Kvyat. I'm not too sure if he does have to pit actually, but we'll have a look in a minute. Now moving on to lap 21, only a few more laps remaining in this Grand Prix now, and 3rd place could be ours. I think Bottas has just exited the pit lane. There you can see Danny Kvyat just ahead of us. It looks like he might be going on to the end of the race on those medium tyres, but we do have a much better traction over the Toro Rosso driver now with the DRS wide open on the faster soft tyres, putting it up into Rich Mix and going straight past the Toro Rosso driver into 4th position. Next up is Valtteri Bottas on the medium tyres. A little bit of yellow flags. I don't really know what happened, but now our next target is Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. If we can catch up to him, we are on the much faster tyres. We can take a 3rd place finish here for Haas F1. Another podium finish. It should be our 3rd of the season, but we do have Nico Rosberg piling up all the pressure behind in that Mercedes car behind. Of course, despite being on the slower tyres, he is in the much faster car. He is the inside line going into Stowe corner, and there's contact made. Rosberg's gone off, very much like Marcus Ericsson early on in the Grand Prix, and Nico Rosberg's made contact with us. He's ended up spinning out. I believe he will be finishing this race, but he has, well, lost any chance of points, and crucially that's going to impact the championship battle. Now moving on to lap 26, this is where the tyre wear started to kick in. Valtteri Bottas, as you can see, it's all the way up the road. It looks like 3rd place is going to be out of the question, but the tyre wear's really bitten us right back in the arse, as Max Verstappen is all the way behind us on those harder tyres. He's with DRS wide open. You can see the tyre wear's not going our way, and Verstappen moves into 4th position. He is our closest rival in the championship right now, and at the minute he's going to be on course to keeping his lead over us for 4th place. If we can get ahead of him, I believe we actually move ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship. He is making this very difficult for us, and this tyre wear just certainly isn't helping. And we are keeping the gap to Max Verstappen. It's not over just yet, but meanwhile back at the front of the field, it's Lewis Hamilton who has dominated this Grand Prix, and it's going to take a 3rd consecutive victory here in Silverstone. But it's not over yet. There is Max Verstappen. We have the DRS wide open. We're going to try for one last ambitious dive going into Stowe corner, and we have taken 4th position on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Now we're only 2 more corners to go. Surely there's nothing that Max Verstappen can do about it. It's going to be 4th place for ourselves at our first home Grand Prix. An excellent end to this race, and just taking it off Max Verstappen. I believe it now moves us into 4th position in the Drivers' Championship, joint on points with Verstappen, but ahead thanks to that race victory that we earned in Canada. And that was a tough ending. The tyre wear really kicking in. We had a little bit of contact with Nico Rosberg, which didn't really help, but it did help this man, Lewis Hamilton, who is going to have a big lead in the Drivers' Championship. And having a look at the podium now, Daniel Ricciardo managed to hold on and finish in 2nd, Bottas eventually taking 3rd. That could have been ours if we kept it a little bit easier on the tyres, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. We haven't had a podium finish for quite some time since the Canadian Grand Prix. It was looking quite unlikely we were going to get it anyway here at Silverstone, but still I'm very happy with a 4th place finish, our 2nd consecutive 4th like we got in Austria, and that's it's good, keeping things consistent. That's my aim for the season. But having a look at the race result, neither Ferrari finished in the points we saw. They had an awful start, and I had no idea what happened to them. They just dropped way down the order. Romain Grosjean as well getting 7th place for our team, so a good result overall for the Haas team. And Rosberg were coming to finish 11th, eventually finishing behind Ria Haryanto, who scores another point for Manor, so a big shout out for him. In the Drivers' Championship now, it's Lewis Hamilton who has a 28-point lead over Nico Rosberg, with Daniel Ricciardo very close behind in 3rd. We indeed move ahead of Max Verstappen, joint on points with 91 each, but ahead due to that victory in Canada. And a lot of change going around the order here. Bottas moving ahead of a couple of drivers. In the Constructors' Championship, it stays exactly the same, with Red Bull only 68 points off the lead, and then we're in 4th with a 17-point gap towards Williams, so it's still quite close at the minute. And F1 has scored points, but Sauber so far. Taking a look at the resource points there for this race, you can see getting a well-earned 132 resource points for this weekend. That's going to be earned towards more upgrades in the future. Of course, we have our chassis weight upgrade coming for the next race in Hungary. Again, I apologise for not showing that in the video, but because Raikkonen didn't score any points, that's actually helped us catch up to him a little bit in the rivalry, and it's 10-8 so far to the Finnish driver. But we are slowly keeping it behind the Ferrari. But here we are, the news that we have been waiting for a long time now. We are finally getting our promotion to #1 driver here in Haas F1. I don't know why we just got this now, to be honest. It should have been a lot earlier, because we've been outpacing Romain Grosjean for most of this season. And there it is. We are now #1 driver, and we get the another advantage of more resource points from the Hungarian Grand Prix onwards. And I'm very excited for the next race in Hungary. It's not a particularly favourite track of mine, but nevertheless it should be a good one. And after the previous crazy races we've had, it would be good if we can get another one in Hungary. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Until next time guys, this has been DMAT96. I'll catch you guys later.